good to see you today. We're going to be playing a little bit with our eyes today. So just get yourself in a position where you can have a good view and probably make sure there's a few things that are relatively close to you. Not, they don't have to be super close, but we're going to be looking at some details today. So I just want you to, and it doesn't have to be a bird. If it's a bird, it's great. That's awesome. If you have feeders in front of you, or if you're in the wild and you see birds, that's awesome. Otherwise, just so at least you can see the details of something in nature or something human made would be preferable. And as you can hear, I always say this now, at the moment I'm staying at a place where I am really close to a road, so I will do my best to mute the call when I am not talking, so you don't have to hear all that. Right, so get yourself in a nice comfortable position. And just remember that everything that I suggest today is all just a invitation to play. And of course, if you see something and you have your binoculars, you can go ahead and use them. Don't let what we're doing stop you from playing in that way, if that's what you're looking for. So we'll be interspersing our eye explorations today with some more meditative and quiet work. So we're going to get grounded first. So just put your feet on the ground beneath you. And this time, just let yourself tap into the soles of your feet. I want you to feel the soles of your feet and whatever they are connected with. Maybe they're talking, you're not talking to, maybe they're talking to socks right now. Maybe they're talking to the floor, maybe the shoes, maybe you're wearing slippers. Maybe your feet are naked on the earth at the moment. So whatever it is, just feel the sensation of your soles on whatever it is that they're touching. Just notice that sensation in your body. And now go ahead and just imagine that your feet are now growing roots. And they're extending all the way down deep into the earth. And just imagine what that would feel like. Can you feel your roots stretching out into the earth beneath your feet? And as they're stretching and growing, they're also bringing nutrients back up to you. So just allow the nutrients of the earth to come back up through your roots into your body. And just allowing them to move nice and slowly, nourishing every part of you, starting with the soles of your feet, and then moving to your toes, the tops of your feet, your ankles, just sending lots of goodness and nourishment to your calves, your knees, and the tops of your thighs, and the bottom of your thighs. Shifting over to your hips now, just really sending lots of goodness into your hips, into your belly and your low back. Moving up into your chest and your spine. And then over into your shoulders. You can go down one arm to your elbow, to your wrist and your fingers, and then down the other arm from your shoulder to your arm, your elbow, your wrist and your fingers. And then let all that nourishment and that goodness move up into your neck. And then continuing on to the crown of your head and even into your face. We'll pause for a moment while the sirens go by. And not forgetting your chin, which I have a teacher, native man, who always talks about that the chin is the first part. Well, actually, the nose is the first part to enter the world and the room. But not to forget your chin. The chin's a really important part of us. And so send some nourishment to your chin, your mouth, your nose, ears, eyes. So much happens up in our face, to your head, that beautiful brain of yours. Good work. So now just notice what your breath is doing in this moment. seeing how deeply into your body it expands. And it's okay if it's not moving very deeply in this moment. Maybe it's more shallow. But just take stock, just notice where it is and what it's doing right now. And if you want to take a deeper breath, you can do that in this moment, really with the intention of filling your lungs, filling your chest, expanding into your low belly. It's a place a lot of us keep really tight. So just allow your low belly to soften in your breath. Nice work. And so now we're going to give our attention to our eyes for a moment. And as we often do, go ahead and find a point off in the distance to look at, something that you can focus your eyes on. And let yourself just get nice and focused on whatever it is, noticing the edges of whatever that is that you're looking at. And then slowly, you're going to expand your vision in all directions. So allowing it to get further and further and further out while you're still looking at that one point. And just seeing how far you can expand your vision. How far out in all directions can you see? And today, really focus on the angles. So, like the northeast corner and the southwest corner, and the northwest corner and the southeast corner of your vision. What is that like to expand into those directions? For some people, it might feel like effort, it might feel like a little bit of work, and others, it might be easy, it might just be relaxing and calming. Right. And now, while you're staying in this owl eyes, as we call it, let yourself just stay in this softened vision while you now shift your attention and your awareness to your ears. So, allowing yourself to just notice the very first sound that comes into your awareness in this moment. Whether it's quiet or loud, it doesn't matter. Just notice what the first sound is that you're aware of. Just be attentive about what direction it is related in relation to you, and maybe how far away it might be from you, what qualities of the sound it might have. And then go ahead and let yourself listen for another sound, maybe at a different distance. If the first one was far, maybe try to listen for something a bit closer, or vice versa. And now, if both sounds are still a part of your landscape, if they haven't flown off or driven by or whatever it was they were, if they're still in existence, just see if you can allow both of them to exist in your awareness at the same time. And as you do so, don't forget about owl eyes. Don't forget about looking with that softened vision on the landscape. Nice work. So, for our first adventure this morning, you're going to find something that's close enough where you can see the details of it. Again, if it's a bird, that's great. If it happens to be the moss on the tree, let it be something that you can notice the details. It doesn't have to be right in front of you. And, details are relative. We get to see more and more details the closer we get to something. So as long as you can see some level of detail, for me, there's a tree right in front of me and I can see the bark, I can see the edge of the trunk. So that's enough detail for me. If you have something closer to you, that's great as well. So just find one element in the natural world or the human-made world to look at. And what I want you to do, this is going to be sort of the game part of it, is I'm going to give you, I won't tell you how much time yet, but I'm going to give you just a few moments to notice as much detail as you possibly can. And then we're going to close our eyes. So take in as much detail, choose your item, and then take in as much detail of that item as you possibly can. Okay, now close your eyes. And now what I want you to do is draw in with your eyes closed, draw what you just saw, remembering the texture, the colors, what was in front, in the foreground, in the background, any colors around it, any shapes around it. Just allow yourself to bring back the memory of what you just looked at. Okay, good work. So now open your eyes and look at that item that you had just looked at and just see how you did. Just become friendly with it. Was there anything you missed? Anything you might need or want to add to your drawing? So this is a really good practice for becoming a better birder, because oftentimes, in order to identify a particular species, we need to focus on the details. And sometimes we're given just a few seconds to notice whatever details we possibly can. Other times we're given quite a long time to look at a bird. And sometimes that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how long we've been looking at it. We still somehow miss certain details. So we're going to play with this a little bit today. So now I want you to find something else to look at, and I'm not going to tell you how much time I'm going to give you, but choose another item in nature and let yourself be challenged if you want to. Choose a bird, choose something that might be a little tricky. And then knowing that you're going to be drawing this item in just a moment, take everything in that you can. All right, go ahead and close your eyes. So keeping your eyes closed, I want you to go ahead and think about what was to the right of this item by about 5 feet. So what was about 5 feet away to the right of this item? Not sure if you guys heard that one. I asked what was right underneath the item. And now, without looking, what direction are the clouds moving in? And are there clouds in the sky today around you? Okay, go ahead and open your eyes. And now we'll just let ourselves sit and observe, just taking everything in, kind of a little break for our brains for a moment. We'll sit quietly for the next 2 minutes or so. Okay, now let's find something else to look at. And this time, I'm going to ask you to look at, or invite you to look at the space around the item. So almost as if the item doesn't exist, but we know it does. I want you to get really close to the edges of that item and then about a foot around it. Just noticing all that's around it, what's under it, above it, to the sides of it, how the light reflects on it, what colors might be near it. So let you just look at it for a moment or so. And actually, I'm going to give you a little bit longer with this one. So we'll get about the next 20, 30 seconds or so to really just let it absorb. Okay, great. Now go ahead and close your eyes and then draw what you saw. See if it just shows up in your eye first, your mind's eye as you close your eyes. Does the image just appear? Notice what parts stand out to you the most, what parts are easiest for you to draw, and then what parts is there a place missing? Kind of like you just sort of glanced or skipped over that portion. And then do your best to recall where or if there were any shadows. How far out did the shadows travel? What direction were they shadowing? And if there was any movement, see if you can recall any movement in the item that you might have been looking at. And if so, what direction was it moving in, or in what way was it moving? Okay, go ahead and open your eyes and take a look again at the area you were looking at. So now we'll take a little break for our eyes and just go ahead and if you feel like you're in a safe, comfortable place, you can go ahead and close your eyes and we're just going to listen right now. So allow yourself to take in the sounds around you without any need to do anything. So there's no assignment here. You're just going to be listening. Very nice. So you can go ahead and open your eyes nice and gently. Let yourself come back for a moment. And this time, if you've been mostly looking at natural items, I'd like you to go ahead and find something that's human made. And if you've been looking at something that's mostly, sorry, I'm going to pause. Loud sirens. If you've been looking at something that's been human made, I'd like you to find something that's made by nature. And just choose an item. And I'm not going to tell you what to look at right now. Just noticing the details, every little detail that you possibly can notice about what you're looking at. Okay, go ahead and close your eyes and paint that in your mind now. All right, now take a look and see how you did. So now for our last couple minutes, just go ahead and let yourself enjoy the world around you without any need to do anything other than offer gratitude and a blessing to those ones that you interacted with. All right, everybody. Good work today. Thank you. Thank you. So if you need to go, gratitude for coming. And if you'd like to stay for our chat, please do so. If you are going to stay, if you're able to turn your video on, that's awesome. If not, that's understandable. And yeah, thank you for coming. And anyone, I'd love to hear what your experience was like this morning. So we'll focus on today's experience before sort of other experiences from other times. So yeah, if anyone has something that they want to share about what came up for them during this practice, just go ahead and raise your hand and I can call on you. All right, Catherine, go for it. You have to unmute yourself, Catherine. You're still on mute.
Okay, got it. Thank you. I saw the email like 5 minutes before it came on, and I'm like, oh gosh, I got too much to do. And I said, no, you don't. Just sit down and join, because I haven't joined for quite a long time because I've been traveling. So, but today was great because the birds in my feeders are very active right now. There's light snow, but I can still see the grass and the leaves, and it made me just stop for a half hour and enjoy my surroundings. And every time the chickadee would come up to my window feeder, I'd hear a little tap, because it makes a little. And then the blue jays have about 10 peanuts left that they haven't picked up yet. But when they come in, it's a big tap. So, yeah, it's been a pleasure to enjoy, just giving myself the time to relax, and then I'm more peaceful to do the rest of the day. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, Catherine, and thank you for that. Yeah, I agree. Feels like a really beautiful way to start. So thanks and congratulations. Good job on giving yourself the time today. All right. Anyone else want to share their experience?
I'll share. And I don't often, the few times I come on, I have a couple times, but it's been a while also. And as I mentioned, I'm a little bit under the weather. I've been tested for like 40 different things and everything's negative, but I definitely have like an allergy or something going on. So I'm actually home from work, but I'm home from work for a couple different reasons, which are interesting internal politics. So I see your notice come up and I'm at work, right? So today I'm like, oh, I could do that today. And so that was like really great. And I wanted to come on and just see what would happen, but I can't say I was in the quote, quote, best space, when I joined in. But interesting that you took in drawing today, because I am an art educator. And I do something called memory drawing, which is just take your hands and draw, or air drawing. And then you can remember it better if you're going to get on paper. So it was very interesting that you did that, and very wonderful and calming. And the first thing I saw were some doves, and I think a rosy finch that I'm not sure, but it might have been. Maybe I've got a sparrow, but it was in a little bush at a little distance, which was fantastic, which leads to another reason why I wanted to come on. And I want to thank you for doing the bird festival those times. And I actually have been using forensic ornithology because of Dr. Pepper Trail in my art classes. And I'm getting the goosebumps. And because it's art, it's nature, it's observing, it's so many things, and it could be a career for somebody or avenues around that. And there's a YouTube video with is it the Beatty Museum that they talk about in YouTube, but I think it's called Forensic Ornithology is Way Cool. And that video is way cool. So I want to just be able to say thank you, and then just share that we never know what we do and where it goes. And it's bringing tears to my eyes thinking about it, because it's phenomenal. Of course, I've had students draw feathers before, but feathers, but even more intensely because of the fact of all of that work that you've done, and of course his information. So thank you.
Yeah, Marcia, that's really beautiful. And thank you for that reflection. And it's meaningful for me to hear that. And also, I love that you got the opportunity to be the student and not the teacher today. How cool is that? Yeah,
Very cool. Very
I
cool.
I usually just trust my intuition, and it's inevitably right for whatever reason, and in terms of what I do for the day. So it sounds perfect. Like it was perfect. Yeah. Awesome. I'm glad you made it today, albeit being sick, but yeah, or whatever's going on. We don't know. But yeah, who else would like to share? Well, I can tell you, yeah, and 1 second, Catherine. I'll say for me, today, one thing that was cool, even though like I'm leading it, I still have cool things happen to me too. I do my best to let myself get as into this as I can. And I know that when I closed my eyes to let myself just hear, how I heard so many more intricate like details, I guess you could call them, in the landscape than when I just like walked out and set my computer up and everything. And even though I think I'm pretty aware of all the sounds, like the depth at which I heard them was really different after focusing on detail, after really giving myself over to the detail of my, like what my eyes were seeing, my ears were hearing in this really fine detail that was just so wonderful. I heard like all the different kinds of tinkling in the leaves, and a couple of chirps and chips in the forest, like deeper in, that I hadn't heard before. And I was really grateful for that. Yeah, and I felt like, and again, I never know where this is going to take us, and for me either, but it felt like it was a really quick way to get deeply connected, and even though it was a practice about, looking at birds better, it also for me got me really deeply connected to my moment and this place right here. And I feel like a lot of love for this leaf I was looking at. It's like a leaf on the ground. I was like, you're so cool, because I just spent a little bit of time with it, and got to know it for like a little bit. So yeah. And I'd love to hear just if anyone else who hasn't spoken yet wants to share. We'll give folks a chance first. Yeah, please, Julia, go for it.
Well, I have the privilege of still having some leaves on the trees. A Bradford pear, which is trying to convince me that it's a great tree, by these reddish and everything that still has leaves has some reddish gold or reddish brown or something really rich color. And it's really set off by the angle of the sun and the way I'm positioned in that. And this is a little Buddhist kind of thing, but I think I know what color that leaf is. And then with the sun moving just a little, or the wind, making it tremble a little bit, it shows a different color. And I think, yeah, we think we know something, and then something enlightens us to, oh, maybe I didn't know for sure that was it. Anyway, nature has this way of revealing. There are mysteries there that we don't know. If probably at best, we can be privileged to notice it. If we do, yeah.
That is so well said. The privilege of noticing it. Yeah, for sure. And the different shades that nature shows us, I think. You're right, because you can just look at something and be like, that's brown, you know? And then with the sparkle of, like you said, when the wind blows or the sun shines on it differently and the different shades you're able to see. How beautiful. Julia, thank you. I always appreciate your perspectives. Hmm. Someone else want to tell their story? Della, I see you're unmuted. Would you like to?
Oh, no, sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
I'm not awake yet this morning. Sorry. Yeah, your session always helps me, but this morning I'm just having a hard time getting it together. Feeling groggy and
Well, perfect.
inside because it's cold for California. It's 49 degrees. Which is
Well,
balmy for some of you, right?
yeah, yeah. Well, Della, you don't have to be any other way than you are right now. So I'll take you. I'll take you any way I can get you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
perfect. Yeah, for sure. Nice. Yeah, Kathy, please. Hi.
Hi. I just, when I closed my eyes, I realized after looking at something for a while how much I missed. It's like, oh my gosh, I didn't see that before. And so it really brought that into focus for me. And then when we stopped, I turned around and thought, oh, I wish I would have looked that direction because I guess it's just brought a real clarity now for me to notice all around. It really, really, thank you. I mean, I think at least I get so busy, I don't always stop like that to take that little moment. And I'll certainly share it with my coworkers, and say, go, just take a minute and notice that particular leaf or whatever it may be, the bird going overhead. So thank you. And I really appreciate everyone's comments all the time. I just don't always get to be here, but thank you.
Yeah, for sure, Kathy. I love that. It reminds me of two things. One is I had a photography teacher once say that he was a professional photographer in his own right, very well known, and he did some pretty fancy way. He did like J-Lo's wedding and stuff like that. So he was kind of top of his game sort of guy. And he said that one thing that he was told always to do was like, even though it feels like the action is right in front of you, like the people are getting married and the ceremony is happening right there, like oftentimes there's something really cool happening behind you. So don't forget to turn around. And I always remember that, like, it's really easy to get sucked into like whatever it is we're looking at, whether it's the bird right in front of us or the wedding right in front of us. But like, don't forget to like look around and turn around even, because oftentimes maybe the cooler thing is happening right behind you, or the thing that like the couple would want to remember. Like, sure, like you've got other assistants and stuff like that to get the ceremony, but make sure you look behind you, because maybe there's like a mom crying or a dad, like some emotional moment happening, and that it reminds me of what you just said. Yeah, thank you. And there was something else that I can't remember right now, but thank you. Just thank you for what you shared. Yeah, Linda, please.
Well, while I was doing this, I've been reading this book called What the Owl Knows, and there's a really interesting research that's this woman that wrote the book, Jennifer Ackerman, is doing about how sight and sound and the owl is so connected. For some reason, that popped into my mind because when I closed my eyes and just listened, the natural thing that I chose was a blue jay who happened to be right in front of the window here. So I looked at him and tried to remember, and I didn't notice the stuff around him either. I really need to be much more aware of that. But when I closed my eyes and I listened, the blue jay started really squawking. And the memory I had of that blue jay when I looked at him became clearer in my mind when I heard the squawking. So then when I opened my eyes and I looked at him again, which I'm not even sure it was the same blue jay, but I think it was the same spot. But those details that were in my mind when I heard the squawking were there on the blue jay. But when I tried to just look at it and remember it like drawing in my mind, you know, without the sound component, I didn't remember remembering those. So it just kind of struck me like the connection between what we hear and what we see is really strong, I think. I mean, it's we're utilizing it in ways, well, for me, it feels like ways that I had no idea. But anyway, this research has been done on owls, and I won't go into that, but they're using it to test babies' hearing now. But anyway, it's just really interesting thing that I've been reading that popped in my head. But I was surprised at how I was able to do that better after I heard.
Yeah,
So,
that is so interesting, and I love. I haven't heard of that book yet, so that's really cool. I hope you'll share some with us over time. You know what you
sure, I'd be glad
learned.
to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome. And actually, what you just shared did remind me a little bit of what Kathy was saying with the details. And so sometimes what I'll do when I'm looking at a bird, especially if I've got a little bit of time with it, if I'm like, all right, this bird's probably going to stick around for a little bit, I will sometimes either close my eyes or I'll just glance away from it and I'll sort of test myself and ask myself in that moment, like, if I had to draw this bird right now, could I do it? You know, like, and then I'll try to draw it sort of in my mind's eye if I don't actually have a, you know, pad and pencil with me. And and then I'll just sort of notice what parts I'm missing. Like, oh, I forgot about the undertail coverts. Like, what does that look like? Oh, I forgot about the shape of the tail. You know, yeah. I gotta look at the shape of the tail. Or, oh, I forgot to look at the eye. Like, does it have an eye ring or is it an eye arc or is there anything, you know? So yeah, Kathy, I like that you talked about sort of bringing this practice to yourself in your day more, because it is, even when you're looking at a bird, if you've got more than just a split second, you know, it can be a fun little test to play with yourself. If you're like, oh, I got the bird, you know, I've been looking at it for about 5 minutes now, like, no problem, I'll be able to look it up and figure out who it is. And it's like, just test yourself a little bit, just sort of see, like, what did you miss, what detail might you not have noticed. And some of it, like you're saying, Linda, is maybe more of the action, more of the behavior. And also I love that layer of what you're saying of, like, maybe even by closing your eyes, listening for it and seeing what else you might see through your ears, you know. Yeah, that's rad. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Wow,
you bet. You
what a
very much.
yeah, for sure.
I love this.
Me too. All right, anyone else before we head out?
Something's been coming up to me that kind of fits in with everything. An older Native American man once said to me, and probably some other people standing there, if you see something, look. If you hear something, listen. And if you tell a story, tell it from the heart, and it will be okay.
Oh,
Wow, good message. Really good message, Marcia. Thank you. So glad you came today. What a lovely message to end on. Let's end on that one. That's really beautiful. Thank you,
yeah.
everybody. May your week be just as beautiful as this moment has been for all of us. Many blessings to you all. Thank you guys for coming. Lots
Thank
of
you.
love. All right. See you next time.
Okay.